Just the section we don't like, bro. So it's gonna be I build and deploy. Yeah, so include the thing after it, right? We wanted to see that. Actually, let's do this. Copy from the word. Yeah, just copy that. Yep. And then paste it in the quotations and then close the quotations. And we're gonna tell it what we would do differently here. Say, for example, I roll out ... So you're gonna tell it what we would change, right? In this example, it should say, and then we're gonna give it the thing that we wanted to say instead. So it should say, and then what is that? What do we want it to say instead of for example? Let's think about it.
Try to put this in quotations.
Yes. Let's think about what we would want it to say first. We just rolled out. How about that, right? So include the thing that it would say before this too. So that way it knows where to start and where it's ending. So I build and deploy operational voice. You can just copy and paste it. You don't have to retype that. And then this is the part where it's going to be different, right? We just rolled out ... Just add ... It's going to know what comes after. And then end the quotations. And then just tell it why this is better. So this is better because we're not saying the words for example, and it sounds smoother, right? More natural. All right, let's send that through.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think just making it a little bit shorter, sharper, and then removing these things is probably about it. Oh, wait. There was one more thing. It did not end the email with enjoy and then our name. So tell it to end the email in enjoy followed and then ending with our name. All right, send that through. Perfect, bro. This is it. Primary reduce unnecessary length while strengthening clarity and flow. The email should feel tighter and easier to read without losing the important personalized details that make it what it is. So, okay, so tell it this. If there is more than one unique thing in the section that has unique details about the company, tell it to only use one of them. Yeah. So if there's more than one unique thing in the section that has us making a comment about the unique thing, tell it to only choose the best unique thing and not use several. Yeah, that's good. Perfect. So this should be it, bro. This should be it. Perfect. We're gonna take that whole thing. We're gonna paste it in the system prompt section for that AI, and then what we're gonna do to test it is we are gonna give it the mapping of the previous AI module, which has what? What does it have? It has the output, bro. So go make sure you're on the correct module here because I have no idea where you're at right now. Yep. And then we're gonna replace the system prompt for the thing that we just created. What is that? You just click that button once. That's it. You have it. Now click Command V. Cool. All right. So now what do we have to map it, right? This is something that we copied. We already copied the previous module, which means that mappings under the user prompt are wrong. So we have to change those models. So what does it need from us here, right? It's wanting to refine the email. What should we give it? Don't think too hard, bro. It's refining an email. Its job is to refine an email. What does it need?
Oh, use the result from here.
So does it need any of that shit that it has right now?
Any of this shit? No.
No, it doesn't. Its main job is to refine the draft. So the only thing it needs is the draft that it needs to refine. That's it.
So
email or same thing. Whatever. Same thing. It doesn't matter. And then explain to me what you're doing right here. Word for word.
We're mapping in the result, the draft from the draft creator.
And what is that green box called?
The result.
No, Miles. What are you mapping?
I can't remember.
Start with a V.
The
What is the thing that gets replaced when the automation runs? This is a placeholder. Variable, bro. A variable is the thing that's going to get replaced. That's it. So now click save. Now, before you run it, go to the output of the previous thing. We're going to need to copy the results. Remember? Because it's going to need an example. Cool. Copy that.
Can't use my fucking keyboard now.
And then right click. And then just to be safe, before you run it, could you just paste that in the Google Doc in case we need it for the future? Because we might end up making changes, right? And we don't want to have to waste time rerunning the whole thing that was before it. Right click, run once, and then we're going to paste it in here, right? It's going to be asking you, what is that draft? Here's that draft. Click OK, and let's see what happens. Let's go. We got a result. Open it up. Let's see. So, hey, Jeffrey, wait, zoom in so we can read that. I noticed the no FL in your area. Contact us on your website. Really makes local availability clear and easy for customers. I built you live voice AI receptionist that answers the calls. Okay, I don't like this, bro. I really don't like this. Do you know why I don't like this?
Why?
It's like very straightforward, bro. Like there's no two hey why. There's no two whys in the hey. There's no hey I just visited your website. We had that in our previous thing, remember? So I noticed the no FL contact this prompt on your website. It really makes local availability clear and easy for customers. That's like it's like such a fake compliment though. Do you not get like the vibes of a fake compliment here?
Yeah.
Right? And then right after that, hey, by the way, I built you a live voice AI receptionist that answers calls. It's like there's no transition leading them into that. So imagine there's a sentence
Something
before that says, I actually did something a little bit crazy. I built you guys a live voice AI receptionist that answers calls, da da da, right? I deploy voice AI for business, for example, I rolled out a 24/7. And it still did the for example, bro, which is terrible. For example, I rolled out a 24/7 call system for a regional outdoor retailer. Right now, it is conversational and is trained to act as a general receptionist. It answers questions. Scroll down a little bit more. So look at this, bro. Try it now. And then semicolon. And then it throws the number in there. That is so ugly. If you enjoy testing it or want to discuss automating other parts of the business. Bro, want to. If you enjoyed testing it or want to discuss, why not say something like, if you liked it, and you want to talk more about automating your business, why don't you just reply to me and we'll take it from there? Like something that's a little bit more non-robotic. This just screams robotic to me, bro. Let's go ahead and refine this one more time, bro.
how should we do that?
So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go back to that ChatGPT that created it, and we're going to tell it all the things that we don't like. So before you do that, go back to the output that just came out. And here's a little tactic that I do when I'm refining these, okay? I am going to copy the entire output that just came out of this, okay? And then what we're going to do, Miles, is now that we have this copied, we're going to go back to the same ChatGPT that created the system prompt that was responsible for generating this. We're going to say, hey, I just used the system prompt. Here is the result that came out of it. And then I'm going to tell you the things that I did not like. And then I want you to update the system prompt to reflect the things that I didn't like being removed from it. That's basically what we're going to do here. We're going to throw the output back into it, and we're going to tell it what we didn't like. Now, do you see why this tactic works? It's because it's literally looking at the results of the thing that it wrote. So it's going to know much better how to tweak it based on the feedback that we're going to give it.
How should I write that?
I just used the system prompt that you just created, period. I am going to give you the output from it, and then I'll tell you things I did not like about that output and that I want to change. Based on what needs to change, I want you to refine the system prompt and give me an updated one that takes care of it.
An update system prompt that takes care of it?
Or that fixes it. Same thing. Takes care of it, fixes it, doesn't matter. All right. And then I want you to throw in quotations, paste that result in here, and then end the quotations here. And then here, after that, we're going to tell it what we didn't like, right? And here we're going to say this feels way too robotic. The reasons why is because there are no good transitions that feel natural and human. And we're going to give it an example of that.
Reason is because
it feels way too, let's just tell it right. It feels way too direct and robotic. Reasons why is because there are no conversational transitions between the different paragraphs and the information within. Also, it is still a bit long. I want you to add another Y to the hey and make sure to stick more to the original structure that was given to you from the draft that was given to you. So stick more to the original structure that was given to you from the draft that was given to you, right? So we don't want it to deviate too much from that structure because it looks like that very first draft had the structure that we really liked, and then the second one kind of changed it, right? It took away some of the things we like. Try not to deviate too much from the wording / structure, comma, simply shorten and make it smoother as if having a text conversation. Let's just include that in there. The reason why is because when you tell the AI that we're going to be texting somebody, it starts to use more of a dialed down way of talking, right? It's not as strict with the way that it's formatting. Yeah, let's send that. Let's send that. Perfect. All right, so this should be the updated system prompt that does what we wanted to do without changing the main point of it. Yeah, it added 3 Ys, not 2. It's fine. It's fine. You're going to copy this, and then you're going to throw it in system prompt for ChatGPT. You're going to copy this, and then we're going to just remove that part where it's adding a 3rd Y. We definitely don't want 3.
Why?
Because 3 is a little bit gay, man. No. All right, copy that.
What if it's a baddie opening the email, and then she's like, hey, hey, Anmar.
Oh, man. All right, throw that back in the system prompt, and we're just going to change that one part about the Ys.
Delete this bit?
Yeah, we don't need that anymore. Command A, bro. There you go. There you go. Let's go. All right, there you go. Nice. All right, just go to the Ys and then change it. Must always begin with 2 Ys followed by the recipient's first name. was corrected. So the draft uses any other variation such as hey, remove the second example, right? So we just don't want the second example. And we're going to say you must correct it to hey with 2 Y's. Yeah, perfect. All right, save that. Now go back to your Google Doc. And remember when I told you to copy that because we're going to use it again? That's exactly why. Command A.
Yeah.
And then paste it in the example, right? Because we're going to run we're going to run the module by itself.
Oh, Command C.
Yep, we're going to right click, run only. We're going to run this with the example.
So ready?
Yeah, paste it. Wait. Yeah. Okay, that's right. Right. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens now. Hopefully it should be a little bit shorter and cleaner. Boom. All right, let's look at it. Open up the result. Oh, this is not structured like a fucking email. I'll tell you that much. Hey, Jeffrey, I just looked at your website and noticed the no FFL in your contact. Love how it makes it easy for customers to get added. The reason why I'm writing is because I actually built you guys a live voice AI receptionist that answers calls like your front desk. I build and deploy, for example. So it still used the for example, bro. That's crazy. Outdoor similar. About 30. Trade and call the voice AI I built you. 5 on 5 right now. It's conversational, trained to act like a general receptionist, answering questions about store location, shipping. So this is nice. It still used the for example, and it didn't format it like an email with the correct spacing. So go back to the that ChatGPT that we used to create it, and we're gonna tell you these things. So it's still used. Yeah. So we're literally gonna type here. We're gonna say it still used the
Should I copy this?
No, don't copy it. Don't copy it. We don't need to copy this one. So we're gonna say it still used the quote unquote for example that I told you it should not use earlier. That I told you it should not use earlier, and it did not format it with the correct spacing like an email. It put it all in one text box with no spacing. Now, all right, throw that in there. So now you should get a brand new version, which should hopefully take care of that. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna just test it. And this part we could probably skip in post editing. All right, we got the new one now. Copy it at the bottom. Nope. You have one button. You have one button, bro. Stop being stupid. Come on. There you go. And then we're gonna replace this. Command A, remove, delete, and then Command V. Perfect. Now that we have it replaced, click OK, and then run this one by itself. Let's see what happens. Oh, we still got the 8. We got the haze. Yeah, we got the haze.
Wait, what would the for example be?
What's that?
Just run it?
Yeah, run it. Let's see what happens. Oh, you gotta have the email copied. Nice, bro. Starting to move like a fucking automation guy. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. All right. Let's see what this new output looks like. Hopefully it fixes it. But this process right here, Miles, I love that we're doing this because this is a very core important part of building AI systems. Because you refining that system prompt again and again, looking at that output and seeing, does this output meet the expectations that I care about? If not, you go back to that system prompt, you make a bunch of changes, and you keep doing this until you get exactly what you're looking for. This is part of building AI systems, bro. The fact that you're doing this, you have to get used to that, bro. Click result. Now let's see if this one fixed it. So, all right, it fixed the spacing immediately. So, hey, Jeffrey, 2 Y's. I just looked at your site and like the no FFL contact this prompt. I'm reaching out because I built you. It didn't say why it liked it, which kind of threw me off, right? So if I'm opening this email and I'm like, hey, I like that you did this. Why did it say that? All right, let's just skip forward that. I'm reaching out because I built a live voice AI receptionist that answers calls like your front desk. Because instead, it should say, I'm reaching out because I actually built you guys a live voice AI receptionist that answers calls like your front desk. That sounds way better, does it not?
Yeah.
So let's write this stuff down, right? Because I actually built you guys a live voice AI. That's number 1. Number 2 is it should say why it liked it instead of just saying that it liked it. I build and deploy voice AI for local businesses. Instead of saying I rolled out, it could have said we rolled out, but that's fine. It's not a big deal, right? I rolled out a 24/7 call system for regional outdoor retail similar to Superman's. It handled peak season spikes and cut missed calls about a third. Try it and call the voice AI system I built you. 505 is the number. Right now, it's trained to act like a general receptionist. Scroll down. Cool. Bro, so we're about like 95% of the way there. I can tell you this is a much better email. The only things I would change is... the only things I would change are the things that I just talked about, right? It probably should say why it liked the thing. It should say why it liked the thing. It should say we rolled out instead of I. Technically, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a big difference. So what do you think? Is it worth us making the one more final change, or should we just leave it as this? I think saying the why you liked is a very important thing. So at the very least, we should probably include that. So let's say when it mentions that it liked the unique thing, it should tell them why.
Did we say that everything was good except for that? Because if I feel like whenever we changed it, it changes something else without us asking.
No, we'll add a instruction to not change anything else.
Mhm.
So we'll say
So
when it references the unique thing, or when it references that it liked the unique thing, it should say why it liked it in the following sentence. And what else did we not like? Let's just go back to it real quick. So I'm reaching out because I built a live voice AI receptionist that answers calls like your front desk. Change that sentence, literally copy it, and then throw it back into GPT and say, instead of saying this, I want it to say this. And then we're gonna give it word for word. The only reason we can do that, Miles, is because the information inside of that is static, right? It's not going to change. It's going to say that sentence every single time it says it. So we can hard code this, basically meaning we can give it the word for word thing that it should say every time this happens. It should say, and then quotes, I'm reaching out because I actually built you guys, or instead of you guys, throw a variable in there for company name.
I or we?
No, I
Actually
built,
built,
and then throw a variable in there for company name, right? So the AI knows to replace that variable with their actual company's name. Not built, not build, built. And then throw a variable for company name here. A live voice AI receptionist that answers calls like your front desk. Let's just add something after this. Let's just say completely for free. And I wanted you to give it a call and experience your custom demo.
and I wanted you to give it a call and experience
Your own. Let's just think about this, right? And experience what? What is something that is very catchy that we can say here? And experience your own voice AI agent.
your very own.
No, don't say very own. That's too much. Tell it, end the quotations here, and then say it should say this sentence every time, period. Do not change anything else. Did it say, for example, by the way? Which is like literally the main thing we tried to change. Did it say that? I don't remember. No, it didn't. It says I rolled. Yeah, there it is. Instead of I rolled out, why don't we make it say we recently rolled out? So say also at the part. So before the don't change anything else, let's just add one more thing. So add these sentences, right? When talking about rolling out a system for another company, it should always start the sentence with, and put in quotations, we recently ... Okay. And then continue with whatever it was going to say. Just say that. So that way it doesn't actually act stupid and like include the ... and think like this is part of the response. No, not inside of the quotations. Yeah. And then continue, just period. That's it. And then continue. Yeah. Yep, that's it. There's that. All right, send that through. All right, hopefully this is the final version, man. Hopefully.
Better not fuck this shit up.
Better not fuck this shit up, or I'll fuck it up.
I'm gonna punch my laptop.
Let's go, bro. Let's go, man. You're doing exactly what you need to do, bro. I love this. Click copy. No, stop doing that shit. Oh my God. Bro, just click the copy button. All right, change this. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's go. All right, click save. Don't go through it, bro. Oh, you got to change the Y's, huh? Yeah, you got to change the Y's. Let's go. That boy is officially in flow state, man.
Ready?
Yep, let's run it. Make sure you copy the email. Not this one. Just click OK. Now we need that example. All right, let's go, man. Fingers crossed. Hopefully this is the final version and it doesn't do anything stupid. Let's go. Open it up. Let's see what that looks like. So, hey, Jeffrey, 2Ys. Perfect. I just looked at your website. The no dealer contest firm caught my eye. It did not say why. I'm reaching out because I actually built a live voice AI receptionist that answers calls like your front desk completely for free, and I wanted you to give it a call, experience your own voice AI agent. That's awesome. That's good. We recently rolled out so it used a we recently rolled out a 24/7 call system for a regional outdoor retailer. Try it and call the voice system I built you. Here's the number. Right now it's conversational and trained to act as a general receptionist, answer questions about locations, shipping, households, and inquiries, and routing based on intent. It's literally pretending to be your front desk. It can also be hooked into dispatching, booking, If you enjoy testing it, want to talk about automating the process, just reply. Enjoy, Miles. Everything is good except for one thing, man. Why did it catch the eye? Let's see if you can fix that, Miles. I'm gonna let you take it, bro. Let's go, bro. Talk to him, man. Give him what he needs to know. So before you send that, remember, you're not talking to the AI that generated it. You're talking to the AI that's creating the system prompt that generated it. So it doesn't know what you just gave it. You just gave it these things in quotations. You have to tell it. It just outputted this, right? So that way it knows. And then you tell it what you want changed, right? So you're gonna say, I want it to also include the why it caught the eye / liked it. Maybe a sentence, right? I want it to include a sentence. So you framed it like two different things. So it might actually add three things now, Miles. So I wanted to also include the why it liked it in one sentence. That's what you should say. Which follows. All right, send that through. Short observation of recipients, companies, website, send your actual look like website. There it is. All right, it did it. All right, copy that and let's see what happens. All right, what is this, like seventh time's the charm? Hopefully.
This is what I need though, because now I'm just
Dude, now
like
you're
this
like
is
now you're like flowing through it. Like you know
if it went
exactly
through
what's happening
the
and why it's happening and like how it affects the thing.
exactly. If it went through the first time, then I probably wouldn't remember it as well.
Yeah, bro, this like drilled down what a system prompt is and how it works with a user prompt.
Guys, if I can do this shit, you can do this shit.
Let's
I'm like
go.
one of the dumbest motherfuckers out there.
Hey Jeffrey, I just looked at your website and I noticed the no. It stood out because it makes it easy for customers to get added and shows you prioritize local availability. Perfect! I'm reaching out because I actually built local voice answers calls completely for free and I wanted you to give it a call and experience your own voice AI agent. We recently rolled out a 24/7 call system. Try it and call the voice AI system I built you. Right now it's conversational and it's trained to act as a general receptionist. I want to do one last change, Miles. This actually nailed it. This is perfect. Let's go, bro. This nailed it. I want to do one more thing. Do you see where it says try it out and call the number?
Yeah.
And then right before it says we recently rolled out? Wouldn't it make sense to include the phone number after saying, hey, I just built you your own voice AI agent? So think about it like this, right? I'm reaching out because I actually just built you guys a live agent. Try it out and call the agent I just built for you. Here's the number. We recently rolled out That makes a lot more sense, right? Go back to the system prompt and tell it to literally just swap the two sections that start with this, however you want to word that, bro. And the easiest way you can do that is probably just by telling it what these sections start with, like the sentences. That was the quickest replacement you've ever done all day. You're moving better. All right, click save now. And you got a copy, remember? Let's go. 72 time. 72nd time might be the charm, bro. Let's go.
Guys, it's like that girl that you want so bad, you know what I mean? You just keep texting her and you keep asking her when you can take her on a date. If you don't get it the first time, you just keep trying over and over and over and over and over and over until you finally just allow her to.
Until you finally go to jail. Until you finally get a restraining order. All right, open up the result. Let's see what happens. Hey, 2Ys, cool. I just looked at your website. It said why I liked it. I'm reaching out because try it out. We recently rolled out. Right now it's trained. It can also be hooked. And let's look at the ending. If you enjoyed it, enjoy Miles. Let's go, bro. This is perfect. This is awesome. This is it, man. Holy shit. It took us, what, 9 tries to get this? Probably, I don't even know. I stopped counting so long ago. This was such a good practice session for you. What we just did, Miles, is a core foundational thing for building these AI systems is you have to look at the output. You have to see if it's something you like. And if not, you have to refine that system prompt over and over again until that AI employee is giving you exactly what you fucking want. We probably spent at least an hour of this. Hopefully an entire hour is not included in the post edit. Hopefully the editor removed the extra takes, but it took us at least an hour to get that final system prompt, literally just refining it back and forth. But now what we have is we have a final draft finalizer whose job is to take the thing that we want and make it exactly in the wording that we care about. Now this is the point where we finally get to wrap up the ending for this. So now, Miles, I notice you have 4 of these highlighted. I bet you probably know what we're going to do next. We're going to copy the 4 of them and we're going to throw them in the row that is under it, right? So throw them in that row. And now that it auto-connected, remember the difference between these rows is the first one is referring to their first name and the row under it is referring to their company name, correct? Do you see anywhere where those 2 yellow error logs are? The reason why, Miles, is because these are referenced to a module that does not exist behind those ones now. Let me explain to you. Open up that very first module that's giving you the yellow error. And then I want you to look at the variables that we map. Do you see which one is gone? Now look at which number that is. Which number is it? I want you to notice this. What number is that module?
48.
Now where does 48 live? Show me in the automation. Where's 48?
Right here.
So 48 is at the top row, right?
Yeah.
And right now we're editing where? At the top or bottom row?
Bottom.
So what's the equivalent of 48 in the bottom row?
51.
51, exactly. So it's looking for 51. It doesn't want 48 now. Remove 48 because that existed in the top row. Right now, the equivalent for 48, the actual thing that comes before this module, is actually 51, not 48. Yep, we're going to take the text. Boom. And then we're going to save that. So the website analysis is going to be the same. The only things that are going to be different are what, Miles? The email draft creator, correct? Now open that one. Scroll down to the variables that are mapped here. And this one wants our service description, the new one that's in the same row that it's at. And that's going to be what number?
53.
Yep. Delete 52 and then remap 53 into it. Nope, you're picking the wrong thing. That's not the variable. You know it's a variable because it has the name of the variable. Your variable is literally called our description.
Oh yeah.
Then we need to map the text. Cool. Now what else do we have to change here? Remember, we're on the bottom row right now. And this is looking at a first name. We don't want it to look at a first name. We want it to now look at a company name. So where's company name coming from? Right there, right? Yep, company name shortener. Exactly. So we're going to erase the old one and then map the company name shortener variable inside of there. And then you're going to say here is the company name. Remember, because right now we only have it saying here is the name. All right, perfect. Put a space and then click OK. And that should be everything. So now what I want you to do is save the whole automation. And Mr. Miles, you have now just completed a very big milestone. Congratulations. You have built 95% of the system the very first time. Let's go, bro. Let's go, man. This is awesome. Let's go. Now what we have to do, Miles, this is the true test. The final true test that you did a good job. What we're going to do, Miles, is we are now going to run the entire automation from top to bottom. Now, before you click the run once button, I need you to just look at where is this thing going to start when it runs? What's the very first module? Now, what is that doing? Just look at the name. It tells you what it's doing right under it. What is that doing?
Watching the actor run.
Does it run the actor itself?
No, don't we have to?
So you have to run the actor yourself, but you have to make sure that this thing is listening when the actor runs. You remember that?
Yeah.
So if you run, if you go to Applify and run the actor, and this guy's not listening, it's not gonna process. You have to go to Applify right now, and we have to go to the actor that has all of our settings that we configured, and we're gonna run it manually. Yep, you're gonna log in, and then here you're gonna click on your actor. So it's right there. It says Google Maps Scraper. That's the only one that we have. Here you're gonna have a button at the top right. Do you see that button that says Start? So we're gonna start the actor here, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna start running. And remember, it took about 1 minute and 20 seconds to run, right? So click that start button. And now what's happening is it just started the actor. It's spinning up all those servers so that way it's doing the scraping. At about 45 seconds, I want you to go back and trigger the entire automation. And the reason why is because remember, this thing is going to time out if we have it listening for too long while the actor is still doing his job. Just finished. All right, jump back into me. So it looks like it caught it. I want you to zoom in. What's the last module that ran? The email finder. You can see because it's green. Things got caught in that filter. Open up that filter. Open up that filter real quick. So get valid emails 1 equal to. Oh, that's why. Oh, we're literally saying first email needs to equal Terry Lawson. And if it doesn't, don't go through. I think I was showing you how filters work. That's why. Change equal to exists. We don't need equal to, right? We want it only if that first email exists. Move forward. Now click save. And now what you could do is let's do the same thing on the other one too. Let's make sure our other filters are good too. You know that one's good. Not equal to 0. Cool. And then under first name doesn't exist, so first name equals 0. Cool. Okay. Go ahead and click run once and save it. Actually save it. Let's see if we can get away with running with the same data that came in. Click run once and click use existing data so we don't have to rerun the actor. All right. Yeah.
Hey.
Let's go. So open up the sheet real quick. Open up the sheet. Right now it's running through all of the AI employees, right? It shortened company's name. It's doing the website analysis, and then it's gonna draft the email draft, and then it's gonna finalize it. Open up that Google sheet real quick while it's doing that. Let's just see if it did information dump, right? There it is. There's those 2 bottom rows. Go to the left side, the name, phone number, address, street. No, this is from our previous run. I don't think that's from this run, is it? Let's go back to the automation here real quick. What was that message up down there? The URL filled with an error there. Oh, okay. So one of the websites wasn't hosted with HTTPS, so it didn't go through. We should probably set a filter where only websites for HTTPS will go through that. Otherwise, it's gonna break the automation. This is a very good error that we just had right now. Let's look at the Google Sheet first, make sure that it's dumping information first, and then we'll fix it. It's not. Do you know why it's not, Miles? We were testing. The one above it actually does. Let's replace it with the one up top. And now let's fix that HTTP thing. Yeah, go to the filter right before the HTTP module that failed. Yep. So yeah, that's the filter that controls what reaches the HTTP module. We're gonna go to that filter. Do you know why we got that error?
Because it was
So it's telling you the URL must use HTTPS. Do you see the S? Is there any S?
No.
That's what broke it. So it's literally asking for the secure version of HTTP. There's no S. That's what it looks like. So it's saying the URL must have the S in order for me to use it. Basically, any website that starts with just HTTP, it's not gonna be. You can't go to it. It's not a secure connection. That's why. You don't really need to know that, but that's what that error means. We're gonna filter those out right now, Miles. We're gonna create a filter that says if you are a website and you don't start with HTTPS, don't go through. The name is going to be no HTTP, right? Because we don't want HTTP. We only want the S. And then the condition is going to be, what is the thing that we're working with? It's going to be the website, right? And what do we want the website to start with? So we want to set a filter that says, if you are a website, you do not have an S, you cannot go through. To start with HTTPS, before you make your selection, I want you to choose the case insensitive version of that. You made the right call, but we want the case insensitive just in case capitalization is going to break our system. So what is it? What do we want it to start with? Perfect. Now click save. Now open up that filter one more time. And I want you to understand it. Do you understand what's happening here? We're telling this filter that whatever website you're looking at needs to start with case insensitive HTTPS. If it does not start with that, don't go through. That's what we're saying here. And then save the whole automation. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go back to the Google Sheet, then delete all of the testing that we've done so far. All right, now let's go back to make and let's run the automation one more time here. Then use existing. Yep. So that way we don't have to run the actor all over. Right now it's doing the same thing that it just did. Go back to the Google Sheet, Miles. What do we see? We see one of them. Now what's going to happen is it's literally one by one going to go and create that transcript for every single plumber that it passes through. You notice that it only put one inside of the Google Sheet, right? The reason is because right now it's working on the email draft for that specific one. Once it finishes it, then it's gonna dump the second plumber inside of the Google Sheet. And it's basically right now going in a circle. It's going in a loop, Miles. It's not dumping all of them at once. It's working with them one by one. So I need you to understand this, right? Zoom out a little bit. And here's how we can tell. I want you to hover over the email finder. Right now, email finder is at 1, correct? And the reason why is because we told it only if that first email exists, pass. Any other email after that should not pass, right?
Not doing multiple.
So it's not doing all of them, but it's only doing the first email for every plumbing business that it scraped. We scraped more than one. So right now it's finishing up with the very first one. Now, mind you, we haven't picked a place for it to dump that draft. So right now it's only gonna be outputted right there, right? Click on that output rate real quick. Look at the results. Who is that for? It's Terry. It's looking at the website. I just liked how you spotlight Daniel, Justin, and Jason as hands-on leaders. Da-da-da. I actually built Platinum Plumbing Alive. Bro, this is directed at them. Look at this. Look how perfect this is. But Miles, I want you to notice something. It's not done yet, right? Look what the automation is doing right now. It's right here. And it's doing this for the second plumbing business right now. So it's doing them one by one. You see, an email finder shows 5 right now. Now look at Google Sheets. What does Google Sheets show?
5.
And look at if the first email exists. What is that now?
5.
And look at the first name guy. What is that now?
5.
So it just processed 5 different ones. And look at the no HTTP filter. Look at that. What did it catch?
2.
Which means 2 of them were not HTTP or were not HTTPS. And everything that passed for that is the HTTPS. Open up the Google Sheet. Look what happened.
Yeah.
It's dumping all of them. Look at the final draft of the automation. So it just finished the second one, right? Now you have 2. Open up operation 2 and open up the result of that one. What is that? Who's that to? That's a whole different message for a whole different company. Now, I noticed one thing here. Do you see how the first name is the exact same? I wonder if we hard coded the word Terry because we were like playing around and testing, because it used Terry for two different companies, and I don't think that makes sense. Before we start burning through our credits right now, because right now it's burning through our tokens, I want you to stop the automation real quick. The last step we have to do here, Miles, we have to put the draft in the Google Sheet, bro. Click the plus sign at the final end of it. I'm gonna let you figure this one out. Ask yourself, what are we doing? Adding something brand new, or are we updating something that exists? Yep. 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 Read the variable names. It's asking you for a row number. That's the row number that it added. So that should be the same exact row number with that information. Now, did you ever create a column for that draft to be dumped in? It's not gonna show up immediately. What do you have to do? That's it. Final draft right there. Right? What are you doing here now? You're mapping the final draft dynamic variable in there. And then you don't have to do anything else. All of the other shit is being dumped from another module, right? And it's probably gonna complain at you because you have two different draft finalizers, right? You are officially done, bro. You have just built your very first AI automation system from beginning to end. This is a very big milestone, bro. Anything that anybody building this for the first time should be tips to help somebody be better?
There is going to be hiccups. You have to go through those hiccups. If you're watching this, you have to go through those hiccups, starting to understand just maneuvering around these things a little bit more after the fucking eighth time trying to get the prompt for this shit right. You know what I mean? Or literally just keep fucking failing until you get it right. That's the best way I could explain it.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to set up the final cherry on top of this cake right now. We are going to set up the auto sending part. What does that mean? It means that I'm going to show you how you're going to be able to send a stupid amount of messages without having to actually open up Gmail or whatever email client you're using. We're going to do it just by clicking a checkbox that's going to be inside of our Google Sheet where we've been dumping all that information. So Miles, go ahead and just open up that sheet for me real quick. As you guys can see, this is the sheet that we've been dumping information into. This is the same one. Right now, it's just cleared out. We deleted all of those test runs so that way we can get a brand new sheet. And at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to create a brand new column. So go all the way to the right of the sheet, Miles. I want you to go to the next free column, which is going to be column R. And then I want you to label that column send with a question mark. Now, I want you to guys imagine this, right? There's going to be a checkbox that exists there. And if you click the checkbox, what's going to happen is the automation is going to pull the final draft from that row that it exists in. And it's going to go to the specific field where that recipient email is. And it's going to fill out all of the entire Gmail module and send that message automatically without you having to touch a single thing. As you can guess, this is going to allow you to send a shit ton of personalized emails without having to you manually do it yourself. So this is another cheat code that's part of this AI automation. We're going to be able to quickly send just by clicking checkboxes inside of this Google Sheet. So now in order to set this up, Miles, what I want you to do is just go back to the make automation. But before you do that, I want you to make sure that every single cell is clear, right? I want to make sure there's no pieces of information. This is completely brand new. The only thing we should have is the titles for the columns. Is that correct? Now that there's nothing filled out here, I want you to go back inside of Make, and then I want you to right click on the very first Google Sheets module. This is the module that's responsible for dumping pieces of information. Obviously, we have more than one, right? But this is the very first one. What we're going to do here is we're just going to do a very random test sample send. It doesn't matter what it actually is. You just want the automation to dump pieces of information into the very first empty row that it can find. So click run once, and then just fill out anything. It literally does not matter. All right, now that you have something, click the purple OK button. It's gonna run it. And then when it runs, you just wanna go back to the sheet and make sure that there is something in that row that it just dumped in. Obviously, we can see the word Diddy is right there. The diddler is on the company name. The next thing we have to do is set up that checkbox. So I want you to go to that column that we just created with the send and the question mark. And then on that column, on the R, I want you to select the R. So it's gonna highlight the entire thing. And then here I want you to click the word data at the very top. And then from here, you're gonna click on data validation, which is under column stats. And here it's asking you to create a rule, okay? So what we're gonna do is gonna click the add a rule button. And then after that, it's gonna immediately just throw a bunch of drop downs here. Let me tell you what's happening here. Where it says apply to range, do you see that? What that reads as is, hey, I want you to apply this rule to sheet 1, which is the sheet that we're on right now, and then I want it to go from R1, which is the very first cell in that R column, all the way until R1031. Now, obviously, we don't want this to be filling the entire column. We want the checkbox only to appear when information gets dumped into our Google Sheet from make.com. So what we're going to do here is we're going to erase everything leading up until the R1. And then we're going to change the number 1 into a 2. In that space right there, change R1 and make it a 2 and delete everything in front of it. And then once you do that, I want you to click on the drop down where it says criteria drop down. As soon as you click that, what's going to happen is you can see it applied the drop down only to that second cell that we defined, but we want checkbox here. We don't want a drop down. So go all the way down. We're going to find the word checkbox. It should be probably towards the bottom. So as soon as you click checkbox, what's going to happen is it's going to change it into a checkbox, and we can verify that works. Perfect. Now what I want you to do is I want you to click done and then exit out of the data validation tab. So let me tell you guys what happens next. All right. Let's just say we run the make automation and it finds a bunch of information and it wants to dump it in our Google Sheet. Because we have information already in that second row, which is literally the name Diddy and this checkbox, the automation is not going to put information into that row. It's going to jump and go to the next open row, which is row number 3. It's the one that's right after it. Because we applied that checkbox data validation rule to that cell, those settings are going to be duplicated for every single row after it, every single time the automation dumps information, which means every time something gets added as a brand new row, it's just going to generate a brand new checkbox specifically for it. So let's just go ahead and test this, right? Let's make sure this is actually working. Go back to make.com. We're going to do another test. Just throw in any random piece of information, and then we're going to see if that second checkbox actually gets created. What's wrong with you, bro? All right, good. Now go back to the sheet. So as you can see, Diddy Massage Service is now in a brand new row, and it's row number 3. And if we go all the way to the right, we should see a brand new checkbox that was created for it. Boom, there it is. Perfect. So what that just tells me is that this is doing its job, right? It's creating brand new checkboxes for every single row that gets created. So now, Miles, what we have to do is get rid of the last test. Do not get rid of the first one, because remember, the first one is being used as reference for copying that checkbox rule. We don't want to get rid of that very first test. Just get rid of the most recent one that we just did, that Diddy Massage Service. Now that we have our checkbox, what I'm going to set up next is something very special. This is going to be a connection between Google Sheets and make.com. And if you guys have been paying attention, you would know that in order for us to make an automation do something based on a trigger happening in somewhere else, we're going to need something called a webhook, right? We're going to get an address, and this address is what's going to allow us to listen for events that happen somewhere else. Obviously, we use the webhook inside of Appify, so when that Appify actor ran, our webhook caught it. We're going to do the same kind of concept here. We are going to set up a webhook. How this webhook is going to work is every single time a checkbox gets checked, all of the information from the entire row where that checkbox lives is going to be sent immediately to a workflow inside of make.com. That's exactly what we're going to be setting up right now. Now, mind you guys, this does not come default out the box. There's not something that you can just pop in and get this to be created. So what I did is I created a script that is going to be doing this for you. If you have no fucking idea what a script is, all it is a little piece of code that tells this Google Sheet, hey, every time a checkbox gets checked, I want you to package up all the information in that row where that checkbox was checked, and then I want you to send it to my webhook. That is all the script is going to be doing. And if you've never seen a script before, this might look a little bit ugly, a little bit intimidating first, but I promise you guys do not have to know a single thing about it. You just have to follow the instructions, because we're going to be setting it up right now, and I'm going to show you how it's going to be working as we set it up. Now, Miles, I want you to jump back into make.com, and we're going to create a brand new scenario. The actual sending of the email is not going to be done from the same exact scenario that we're looking at right here, okay? It's going to be done from a completely different system. So right now, we are basically going to be creating another tiny little workflow. Make sure this is saved before you click out of it, and then click on scenarios, and then click create a brand new scenario. Now at this stage, we have a blank canvas, okay? And what we need is we need to create a webhook right under tools. It's that red one. And inside of there, as you can guess, it's going to be the second option right there. And then we're going to do here to create a brand new one is we're going to click the word add. And let's go ahead and give it a brand new name, right? Let's just go ahead and say auto send, just so that way we know what this webhook is actually about. And then click save. And then once you do that, it gives you that big old secret address. Right? Now that we have that address, it's going to say copy address to clipboard. before, we're going to click that copy and we're going to save it for later. So take that address and just dump it into a Google Doc or a notepad or whatever that you have open so that way we can come back and recopy it. Now, what you guys are looking at is the script itself. Miles, I want you to just do a very, very quick scroll. Again, it is very ugly and intimidating if you've never seen a script before, but you do not need to know a single thing about what this script does. All you need to know is there are two things that we're going to do inside of the script. Because the script wants to send information to a specific webhook, we have to give it our webhook inside of here. And the second thing we have to tell it is we have to tell it specifically what is the column where our send checkbox exists. So if you zoom in at the very, very top section of that script right there, you can see it literally says edit these two lines at the very top, and then it says required. Paste your make webhook URL here. All we're going to do is we're going to take the thing that we just copied and we're going to replace it with whatever is in the red. Make sure that you're keeping those quotations that are a little bit outside of it, inside of it. Those are very important, okay? Don't get rid of the quotations. And the second thing we're going to do is, do you see right under it where there's a number 7? That is the number of the column where that checkbox exists. So all we're going to have to do is figure out exactly where that column number is for our checkbox and just put that number here. And by the way, I'm going to be giving you guys this document, this entire script. If you do not have access to this, send me a message and I will get it to you. But this will be posted as part of the resources of this project. If you go to wherever I posted that resources, you're going to be able to see this auto send script and use it when you're at this point right here. Now, what I want you to do is copy everything inside of the gray box where the script lives. And now once you have that entire thing selected, I want you to copy it. And then we're going to jump back into our Google Sheet because now we're going to actually configure and tie it into our sheet. And the way we're going to throw the script inside of here is by clicking on extensions at the very top. You're going to click on app script. Now, before you click this, some of you guys might have an error at this stage, right? You're going to click this button and then you're going to see a weird error that says error 500 or whatever it looks like. It's not even going to let you see the screen. If that happens to you, what you would need to do at this point is go and open up either an incognito window, meaning literally a private browser window, or just completely switch browsers. If you're using Chrome, jump off of Chrome and go to something like Firefox or Edge. If this is broken on Edge, leave Edge and go to Firefox or Chrome. This is a known problem. You can try to get rid of it by clearing your cache and cookies, and that should get rid of it. But if it does not, open up in a brand new private or incognito window or completely switch browsers, and that should resolve it for you. So when it opens up, it's going to look exactly like this. It's just going to be an empty canvas. Now, what I want you to do, Miles, is select everything in that empty canvas and just delete it. And now we have our own empty canvas waiting for us to paste our script inside of. So now what I want you to do is paste the script inside of here. Now we have the entire script pasted. So what we have to do now is we have to replace those two different fields that it's asking us to replace. The first one is the webhook. So go back, copy that webhook, and then we're going to paste it at the very top of the script where it's asking us to paste it. Now remember, I told you guys to leave those little tiny quotation marks. They are there for a reason. Only paste and replace what's in between them. So delete that and then just Control V or paste, and that should take care of that for you. So now what we have to do is we have to add the column number where our box actually exists. Now go back to the sheet and let's figure out where that is. And then we're going to figure that out is literally just by counting. So you can see that column A is 1. Basically what we're trying to find out is which number that specific column R actually is. And the way we're going to do that is by counting literally from the very first column all the way to the end. All right, so it looks like this is the 18th column, meaning inside of our script, we're going to type the number 18. We're going to replace that with 7. And we're just going to delete the number 7 and we're going to type the number 18 since our checkbox lives on the 18th column. And that should be it. We literally should be good to go now. So what I want you to do is I want you to save that. And the way we're going to save it is there's going to be a little save button right next to the word run to the left side at the top. Save it. Everything should be good to go. And boom, we can see that it's saved perfectly. Everything works. Bueno. The next thing we got to do, Miles, is we have to configure our trigger. We're going to click on triggers. And this is basically just saying, hey, I want you to trigger the script every time a change happens in the sheet. The way we're going to do that is by clicking this button that says add a trigger on the bottom right of the screen. I just moved mouse face so that way you guys can see it. But click on add a trigger. The very first one should say watch changes. The second thing is going to be the word head. And the third thing is going to be from spreadsheet. We're not going to change that. And then for the event type, we want it to be on edit. At this point, we're good to go. We can just click the save button. We now should be good to go, ladies and gentlemen. There should be nothing else for us to do here. Now, once you guys click save, if this is your very, very first time setting this up, what's going to happen is you're going to get a pop-up. And this pop-up is going to just basically ask for permissions to send information into me. That's all it is. If you have pop-ups blocked, you're going to want to unblock them just temporarily for this. You can see when we click save right now, it's going to give us that pop-up message. Miles, we're just going to bypass that very quickly. It's just sending a verification to that same email, the same one that we're using this spreadsheet inside of, just basically saying, hey, I want to make sure this is you and this is who you are. So now we should be good to go. I just approved it. And then you're going to see a page that looks like this. At this point, you're going to click the advanced button, which is on the left side. And then you're going to click go to untitled project in the gray. It's the one right under it. When you guys do that, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. It's just asking for permissions. Make sure you click the word allow. And then once you do that, it should now save successfully. You should be good to go. If you don't see that page, make sure your pop-up blocker is unblocked temporarily because it will pop up as a pop-up. Now that we have this saved, we're pretty much good to go, bro. What we're going to do next is we're going to test this webhook. Where we're going to do that is we're going to jump back inside of make.com. We want to trigger the webhook. That way it's actually listening for things that should be sent from the Google Sheet. And then once that's listening, we're going to jump back into our Google Sheet and then actually click the checkbox and see if that webhook got the information from Sheets. So Miles, go back to make.com right now where we just were at our webhook. And then I want you to click save here. Now what I want you to do is run this module so that way it's actually listening for things that are going to be sent to it. And then once you run this, we're going to jump back into our Google Sheets. Right now it's listening for things. Jump back, and then I want you to click that checkbox. Before you click it, I want you to notice something. Notice the information in the same row as that checkbox. What is the only other piece of information that we have there? It's the word Diddy, right? So what this checkbox is supposed to do is get all the information from that row and send it to our webhook. Obviously at this point, because we only have the word Diddy, that should be the only thing that's being sent to our AI automation is the word Diddy. So click that checkbox and jump back into make immediately, and let's just see what happened. Boom! Here it is. It looks like it works. And I want you to zoom in on that output real quick. Let's just see what kind of information we're getting. So you guys can see we are getting the sheet name. We're getting the row start, which is the start of the row that we click the checkbox in. And then we have column 18, which is obviously where our checkbox lives. Now here is something very, very fucking important. Do you see where it says old value is false and the new value is true? What do you think that means, Miles?
That the old value is false, value here is true.
Bro basically just said the same words. Every time you check a box, because there is a check inside of that box, that is going to be marked as true inside of here. And if there is no checkbox, you're going to see false. Miles, let's just do a very, very quick experiment, okay? Notice how the old value is false and the new value is true, meaning we checked the box because now it is checked. It is true. I want you to run this webhook one more time, and then I want you to go back to the sheet. Then I want you to uncheck that box. I jump back inside of make, obviously because this triggers every time we make changes to column 18. Look at what that says. Now you see the old value was true, meaning the old value was checked, and the new value is false, meaning the new value is now unchecked. Why do you think this matters, man? Why does this matter to us? Why do we know that it used to be checked and now it's unchecked? Why do we need to know that it used to be unchecked and now it's checked? What do you think is the reason for that inside of Make? It's because we can use these values to filter. Imagine if we had a filter that says only if the value was true, I want you to go through the filter and actually send the email. Having these values means that we can filter by a checkbox being checked or a checkbox being unchecked. Now, this is literally the heart of what makes what we're doing special, is the fact that now you can click a checkbox and you get the new value is true, and then you can set a filter that says if the new value is true, that's when I want you to proceed with the automation. Now you've successfully set up a trigger for an entire automation inside of one tiny checkbox that lives inside of your Google Sheet. This by itself right here opens up so many different applications, so many different avenues, so many different use cases for so many different businesses. This right here, imagine a business that has a huge Google Sheet and they want to set up an automation to trigger based on a drop down being selected or based on a checkbox. You can now fully trigger an entire automation specifically on that checkbox being checked. You can tell that it's checked because when it gets checked, it outputs the word true. Now let's not skip the good part here. I want you to look at row values. Open up row values and let's just see what we get here. Boom, look at that. The very first thing is what? Diddy, which is the first name. But you can see all the ones that are after it are completely empty. The reason why they're empty, Miles, is because
nothing was filled in.
Nothing was filled in. Now imagine if that entire row is filled in with the business information and you click the checkbox. All of a sudden, all of that entire row's information is inside of your make automation just by clicking the checkbox. So now let's continue with setting up the auto sending. The next thing that I want you to do, Miles, is I want you to add a ChatGPT node. So let's finish setting up the rest of this automation. I want you to go back inside of the sheet very, very quickly. Let's just look at what kind of information we're getting. Obviously, if we click that checkbox, we're going to be getting the final draft, which is getting dumped inside of that final draft column, right? Because that final draft is going to be actually inside of the new make automation. I set up a tiny ChatGPT module, which is just going to look at it and make sure that the spacing is formatted correctly, so that way when it does get sent inside of Gmail, it has the correct spacing. That's all we're gonna do right now. Do you remember the BR thing that we did, Miles? Create a brand new ChatGPT module, and we're gonna say every time there's a space in this draft, I want you to insert BR, which is gonna make those emails look pretty and spaced out, just like that example system that we did earlier where we used the BRs. This is not going to be a complex system prompt. This is a very tiny piece of instruction. We're generating a completion. Remember, that's the word you're looking for. Always, we're generating a completion. Which model do you think we should choose for this? Is this a complex task, or is this something very tiny, very simple?
Pretty simple.
Okay, choose the absolute cheapest, dumbest model you can choose. Probably gonna be like 4.1 nano. And then what do you think we should do at this point, right? We gotta give it instructions. So what kind of prompt is that? It's gonna be getting the final draft, and then it's gonna be adding BR wherever a space is intended in that email draft. So that it is spaced correctly. Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So now you just gave it the system prompt. What else do we have to do?
Don't say.
Perfect, bro. You got it. All right. And explain to me what you're doing right now as you do it.
We're mapping it in.
Where is it? Why did you pick 17?
Because that's where the final draft's going to be.
Exactly. And you see that it lived inside of row values because that's where that information lives, right? Save it. And then I want you to add a Gmail module right after this. And this is going to be us sending that email. And we're going to fill this out. Yep. And because we already configured this before, we did the hard, ugly shit. We don't have to redo that. Remember, we're going to be doing a subject and the body, and we're looking to do an HTML. So what is that? What does our subject want to be? Let's think about it, right? Something that's bold, something that makes them look at the subject line and open up that email. I built you a voice AI agent. Just keep it, just literally make it as bold as possible, right? Or let's use their name in it. So that way we can actually include some personalization in there. So do you remember how we dumped their first name inside of the sheet, right? So let's think about where that first name actually exists. Where does it exist?
16.
Let me see one more time. So that's 18, 17. Yeah, you're right. That's 16. So now what we're going to do is we're going to type the message and we're going to map the 16th variable from that webhook inside of the subject line. And yep, there you go. Remove the exclamation mark. So, hey, blah, blah, blah. I built you a voice AI agent. Boom, done. Let's just capitalize voice and agent just to bring it a little bit more, you know what I mean? Kind of put it on the spotlight. All right, let's look at the rest of this configuration. What do we have to do? Body type, collection of content, text, images. Yeah. So remember, we're getting BR, right? That's going to be the result of the ChatGPT module. And those BRs make it HTML. So we're actually getting HTML. And what do you think the body of that should be? All right, you got it. So now, what I want you to do is go back to make.com and we're going to throw in a test final draft. And then we're going to throw in a test subject line. And we actually want those to be like test emails because we're going to want to test this entire automation right here with the checkbox. So go to the very, very first make automation. So now we need a fake final draft, okay? And we need a first name. First, let's go ahead and get the fake final draft. Go ahead and just tell ChatGPT to generate an email draft for you. All right, so here's that fake email. Copy everything except for the subject line because we only need the body. And then we're gonna go back inside of make. So now in order for us to test this properly, we're gonna have to run the Google Sheets module once by itself. But in order for us to fill in pieces of information, we obviously have to have a variable in those columns where they exist. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up that Google Sheet box and just temporarily, we're going to add 2 random variables to those specific columns that we care about, which is going to be the final draft column and the first name column. Now, these have to be variables that you did not use earlier, right? So obviously we never used the price variable and we never used the language variable. That's the reason why Miles dragged those and dropped them in here. Once you put 2 brand new variables, this is going to allow you to, when you click run once, insert information inside of those specific text boxes where those variables are mapped, which is how we're going to be able to do a fake test with the checkbox without us having to actually do a lot more than this. So click the purple save button now, and then I want you to right click on the module and then we're going to click run once and fill in that information. We know that whatever goes in that language box, that's going to be the final draft, because that's literally the variable we use for final draft. And then whatever goes in that price text box is going to be first name. When we click OK now, it should then put those pieces of information where the first name and the final draft actually exist on that Google Sheet. And then we should get a brand new checkbox from this. There it is. Boom. So we can see first name, we can see final draft, and we can see a brand new checkbox was created. Now we're going to test that brand new automation, and what we're going to do is we're going to go back into Make and trigger the webhook, so that way it's listening for things that get sent to. Now mind you guys, when we turn this on, that webhook is going to be listening 24/7. We would not have to do this every single time. But for right now, because we don't have it turned on, we're going to click run once, and then we're going to click that checkbox, and then open up the email and make sure that we're getting that Gmail that we're supposed to be getting exactly the way it needs to be formatted. So here we're going to run once, so that way the webhook is listening, and then we're going to jump back into the sheet and just click the checkbox. And once we click the checkbox, I want you to jump inside of Make immediately. And you can see this webhook caught it. ChatGPT now is formatting it, and we should see an email at the top. It might have went to the spam. Let's open up the spam and see if it's still there. Yep, there it is. It went to spam, man. So, hey, I just wanted to check in, So we can't really tell the format of this because it's inside of spam. Click that not spam button at the very top. And then when you click that, open up your regular inbox. And let's just see what that looks like here. Okay, something very weird happened. You can see that the only thing in the actual body is just the word true. And then it threw everything in the subject line. Clearly, this is not correct. You probably mapped the wrong thing inside of subject, brother. Do you see where it says row value 16? This is how we're going to know you mapped the wrong thing. I want you to just click anywhere. And then I want you to dig down into the row values section inside of that webhook, so we can see the piece of information and where they actually live. Because right now, remember, because we did a test, we get a little tiny preview. Now, do you see where first name is? And do you see where the actual message is? It shows you the preview right there. Is Miles. What number is that?
15.
And which one did you map in the subject?
16.
And what is 16?
Body.
So you literally put the entire body in the subject, bro. That's why the email looks stupid. But you can see how we quickly caught that by looking at what we mapped and what the preview of the variables actually are. This is how we're able to tell if we did something wrong. 9 times out of 10, though, it's not going to be glitching. It's probably going to be something that you did wrong with the mapping. Let's test it. All right, it's doing its thing. Open up the mailbox. Brand new. And boom! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! We have now officially set up check to auto send. We are now going to be able to send a shit ton of emails literally just by clicking a checkbox inside of the Google Sheet.
Goated.
Right now, you can just click a checkbox and this email will get sent from our Gmail with the prospect's name, with the email draft, every single thing perfectly intact. We are now officially done with the auto sending part. Boys and girls, now that we have officially wrapped up the local AI outreach system, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have to prepare ourselves to actually send those emails. And obviously, we cannot send them if we don't trigger our mailbox warm-up. This is one of the most important parts, and the reason why was literally shown in front of you. We actually tried to email ourselves, and you can see that our email went to spam. It didn't even land in our own mailbox, which is crazy. Obviously, that would invalidate the entire idea. If we're sending out emails and they're just landing in people's spam boxes, that's not going to be very fucking helpful for us, is it? So what we're going to have to do to get around that is we're going to have to do something called email mailbox warm-up. I know I explained this before. I'm going to run through it very quickly just to catch up. But basically, if you have a brand new email with no history of it being used, these emails go immediately to junk and spam. And obviously, we saw that happen in real time to our test. And so email warm-up is how you prevent this from happening. Every single smart business, no matter how big they are doing some sort of warm-up process to make sure that all their cold outreach is actually landing in mailboxes. Instantly is an example of a service that does email warm-up. That's not going to be the one that we're going to be using to email warm-up our email, but I'm just using it to show you guys the example of how this works. And then this platform has an automated system that will send a brand new email to its own internal, already warm mailboxes. And this is, by the way, fully automated. And this mailbox, what it's going to do is it's going to open up your email and it's going to respond to it. And it's going to do this every single day. And then as the days go by, it's going to increase the number of emails that get sent and received from these mailboxes. So it's going to be automating the entire review process. The traditional way for you to do this is literally by sending a few emails a day from that new mailbox. And on top of that, those emails need to be opened and they have to be responded to for a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks. Now you can see why this is such a critical process, because if we don't start this right now, we're going to be pretty much behind. It needs 2 weeks for it to warm up. You can actually get away with doing it about a week and a half, but we want to make sure that we're doing this as early as possible. And so what's going to happen is it's going to send one email, and then after that, it's going to send maybe 2 emails, and then after a few days, it's going to keep up until the email ends up being warm. So for our case, we're going to be using something called Truly Inbox. I already talked to you guys about what this is, but this is an email warm-up platform. The reason why we're doing it is we get to warm up one mailbox completely for free without having to do a single thing. And you can see that in this pop-up that literally just popped up, right? You get 1 email account, 10 daily warm-up emails, and you get to monitor the deliverability. You can see if they're actually being received, they're actually being opened. It's very easy to set up. So what I'm doing right now is just set this up for the first time. I'm going to click Get Started for free at the very top. And then here, I'm going to click Sign Up with Google. And then I'm going to select the Testing Man Gmail that we've been working with the whole time. Then I'm going to click Continue. And after I do that, what you're going to see is it's going to ask me to set up my account. So I'm just going to set up a random 4 number here. It doesn't even matter what this is. And here, I'm just going to skip through all of their questions. None of this matters. This is just survey questions. And here it is, right? It says your account is ready. Now we're ready to warm up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Add Email Address. And here's going to give me different options. Now, obviously, because our email lives inside of Google, because that's where we set up our professional email, we're going to select the Google as our service provider. And then here's going to ask you to do a specific step. If you guys remember, when we created our professional emails, we created them inside of the Google admin portal. So now I'm going to go to that Google admin portal, and then I'm going to follow these specific tabs that it's telling me to go to. And then I'm going to click this button, and then I'm going to paste this field that it's giving me. Very simple, very straightforward. So that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. All right, so boom, you guys can see I just logged in here. And then from here, what I'm going to do is just go back to the instructions and follow what it's telling me to do. So it's saying from the admin console, click on Show More and then go to Security. So on the left side, you can see I don't have to click Show More because it's already here. And here's Security. And then I'm looking for Access and Data Control and then API Control, Manage Third-Party App Access. So let's just see where that is. Access and Data Control, API Control right here. And then was it Manage App Access? Manage Third-Party App Access. Okay, so Manage Third-Party App Access. Where is that? So I don't see Manage Third-Party App Access. I do see Manage App Access. So let's see if that's the same thing. All right, I'm going to click Manage App Access. And then here you're going to see a screen that looks like this. Now you guys can see on this test account, I did this actually before on like a very random test that I was doing on my own. So we're pretty much going to do the same thing. Ignore this, right? Yours is going to be completely empty, but you are going to want to click on Manage App Access. And then here you can see it's going to say Configure New App. So we're going to click on Configure New App. And it's going to ask us to search, but instead of search, obviously we're going to copy this thing right here. And then we're going to paste that. And then we're going to click search. And as soon as we do that, you guys can see it found Truly Inbox, which is great. I'm going to open that up and let's just see what it says. It says after adding Truly Inbox in your admin workspace, click Connect Account. And that should be it. So let's just see what that looks like, right? All in OpenStep AI. That's all the users, right? It's perfect. Click Continue. And then we're probably going to want to mark this as trusted so that way they can actually talk to each other without any errors. And then I'm going to click Continue. And then here, I'm just going to have to click Finish. There's nothing else for me to click here. So as soon as I clicked Finish, this should be configured on this part. And once that's done, I should now be able to go back and then click this Connect Account button. So I'm going to have to sign in to that OpenStep AI email. So it's going to say anmar@openstepai.com and then password. This is going to be the same email that we just did that approval inside of the Google admin portal. And then I click continue and then continue down here. I'm going to click allow. So it looks like this one did work. There it is. Boom. Email account connected successfully. That's perfect. You can see that anmar@openstepai is here. We can see that the warm up status is running and we can see stats right here, right? How many were sent today? How many were received today? How many were sent over the last 7 days? This is perfect. This is literally it. We can see that it's also being warmed up because this is turned on. if I wanted to turn off the email warm up, I would simply click this button and it would probably warn me before turning it off. But obviously I want this warm up, so I'm going to leave this on. And I can see now that this is doing its job. So ladies and gentlemen, now we are done with the email warm-up part. That should not have been too difficult, but if you follow the instructions on the screen and the instructions that I just showed you, this is how you're going to be setting up your email warm-up. Keep in mind we're on a trial right now. Obviously, once this trial finishes, it's not going to stop your warm-up process. It's probably just going to knock it down to the standard free tier that it's actually running at, but it's still going to be warming up. You want to make sure that this is warming up for at least 2 weeks minimum. And every single day you want to get inside of Truly Inbox and make sure that these numbers are going up, that it is actually doing the warm-up process. Set a timer and maybe check it at the end of the day every single day, maybe at like 12 a.m. right before you sleep. Whatever that cadence looks like for you, you want to make sure that your warm-up process is good to go and you're not wasting time, waiting for an email to be warmed up that is not even actually warming up. But with that being said, we are good to go on the warm-up part. Also, in order for you to know if your email is ready to be used, look at this right here. You have a section called Outreach Readiness. It literally tells you, it shows if your email account has achieved a healthy deliverability level through the warm-up. If it says needs recovery, you are not done yet. Don't try to send emails if you're in this needs recovery state. Make sure that this is not in needs recovery, because this determines if your email is healthy enough to actually send emails or not. And with that being said, we are now officially done with the email warm-up process. Now, boys and girls, we're going to set up something that is literally going to be the backbone of our business, right? Let me explain to you what that is. If you're trying to run any kind of business and you're trying to sell something, whether it's a product or whether it's a service, and you have a customer base, right? And you don't have anywhere to track what the hell is happening with your customer base, it sucks to say, but you're not going to last very fucking long. And the reason for that is because what smart businesses do is they track every single thing that's happening inside of their business, okay? And usually that's done inside of somewhere called a CRM. You probably heard me mention it before, but I never really explained it. It stands for Customer Relationship Management. So what it is it's basically a platform that you can log into, and it's gonna quickly give you every single view of the customers that you interacted with and all the information tied to those customers. So if you're running some sort of campaign where you're reaching out to a shit ton of people and you're trying to sell them something as a product or service, you need to know where you are in that process. You do that by marking different fields inside of the CRM that tell you the current status of each interaction. Now, what I'm about to show you guys is going to be an extremely simplified, diluted version of a CRM. This doesn't even really scratch the surface of what an actual CRM can do. But the reason why I chose this approach is because it is extremely simple and easy to use. It's really straightforward, right? And it has the same concept of what a real CRM actually does and what it's used to do, right? What it is it's a source of truth that we're going to be able to open up as much as we can, and we can check information, we can monitor what's happening, and we can update it, right? We're going to be able to update statuses of what's happening with the companies we talk to inside of this quote unquote tiny CRM. Now, this matters because this is going to allow us to stay on top of all the interactions. We're going to be organized, and we're going to update it based on what the hell is happening, so we're not forgetting things, okay? You don't want to wake up next week and not remember who responded, who talked to you, who didn't talk to you. All of these things need to be tracked somewhere, and that's exactly what this sheet is. So with that being said, let me show you what that is, and this is going to be something that I'm going to be giving everybody. Now, the CRM we're talking about is going to be this tiny Google Sheet right here, which, by the way, I'm going to be giving out to everybody that is watching this, okay? Right now, I'm going to show you guys how to use it. It is extremely simple. Here's what's going to happen. So you remember the Google Sheet where our local AI scraper is going to be dumping all that information, and then we set up this checkbox where every time we click the checkbox, it will automatically send a draft that was created by the AI system. When we click this checkbox right here and those emails get sent, we're going to set up a tiny automation that is going to jump in this Google Sheet, and it's going to put the company's name that we contacted right here. And it's also going to put the email that we sent that email to right here. It's going to do it automatically. Then after that, you're going to have 4 different columns, okay? Each of them has a drop down. This is where we're going to be tracking and monitoring what's happening. And the reason we're doing this is because as time goes by and we talk to more and more companies, we send more and more messages to them, you're going to have different statuses that would apply to different companies. For example, Miles, some companies might not even call the demo that we're going to be giving to them. Some companies might call the demo. Some companies might respond. Some of them might be interested, and some of them might even book with us. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this super simple 4-column sheet right here with these drop downs to mark the status of what's happening as the thing is actually happening with this company. And then we have this fifth column right here that just says booking details. If we somehow ended up to get them to book on our outreach email, then we can just paste in the date and time of their booking or even the link right here, just very quickly. So you can see now how this is going to be our source of truth. If it doesn't exist in this CRM, if it doesn't exist in this Google Sheet, it didn't happen, okay? That's the rule in mind that we have to keep in the back of our mind, Miles. As soon as things happen, this is going to be our source of truth. Do not keep things in your memory, bro. Open up the sheet and update it. This is how we're going to be tracking all those interactions. This is how we're going to be on top of the communication with the companies that we speak with. Now, in the traditional sense, the real CRMs, the actual applications, there are dedicated apps for them. Just to show you an example of some of them, you might even recognize some of them. I just popped in here and I asked for the 10 most common popular CRMs. If you've heard of Salesforce before, if you've heard of HubSpot or Zoho, all of these different names, the more you talk to businesses, the more you talk to business owners in the real world, you are going to see these names pop up more and more. And I'm telling you this right now as somebody that's preparing you for the future if you are genuinely trying to build a business. These CRMs are a crucial part of a lot of businesses, not maybe these specifically, but the idea of using a CRM. And usually what they are is they're a collaborative space that allows an entire team to work together with each other and mark the status of what's happening inside of their customer base and be able to send things to each other. And it just has all this extra complexity. Some CRMs even have invoicing inside of them. Now, the idea for you is not to jump and immediately be an expert at all these CRMs, but there's two opportunities for you to quickly grasp on and understand. One, these CRMs still have to be manually used by people. And because they're a core part of a lot of businesses, what you can actually get away with is if you build really cool AI automations that will automate things that usually are done manually inside of people's CRMs. That is a very lucrative field. A lot of people will pay for CRM automations just because that takes a lot of time from the team members that are using the CRM. And because they're living in it, a lot of their jobs are being done inside of CRMs. You can get away with charging some very good prices for AI systems dedicated towards automating CRMs. I'm throwing this out there because I want you guys to be familiar with the term CRM. It's going to be something that's going to come up again and again the more and more you talk to businesses. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set up the tiny automation. When we click this checkbox, it's going to jump in this Google Sheet and it's going to put that company's name that we actually emailed and their email address right here. So Miles, I'm going to let you take the wheel right now. You're going to be driving this one and I'm going to walk you through how to set this one up. Remember that automation we set up when we do the checkbox? It's going to auto send. I want you to open up that automation. Remember in this, what's happening is all of the entire row's information is being sent, right? With that being said, what do you think we have to do now? We want to update that CRM tracking sheet.
I should open the CRM tracking sheet first and add it into here. After email sends through here, you should add another module, Sheets module, that connects to the CRM and then updates what we want to update.
So that's exactly what we're going to do. So now what we have to do is we have to connect this exact sheet inside of Make. And before you make your selection, think about what you want to do. Are we creating a brand new row or are we updating? That should be the first question that goes in your mind.
We're updating the rows.
Now, are you updating multiple rows at the same time or are you updating one row at a time as things get sent?
Just one at a time as things get sent.
Okay. And these questions you should be asking yourself. Perfect. Yep. You want to update a row. The reason why we chose this is because we're going to be updating several fields in one row. And I know you were hovering over the update cell. The reason why you didn't choose it is because we're not just updating one cell, right? We're updating two. We're updating company name and we're updating the email address that we actually sent an email to. So now you're at the selection where it's asking you, where does that sheet exist? Now tell me real quick, where do you think that exists?
Oh, it'll be shared with me.
Exactly. If you click that, you're going to see two things that were shared with you, right? Green equals send 10 and some other thing that you had before. As soon as you click that, it's going to ask you for that sheet name. We have 4 sheets in that. If you open up that Google Sheet itself, let me show you where it's pulling those from. Look at the very bottom. We have 4 different sheets. And the reason why I did this is because ideally, if you're doing this campaign, and I want you guys to really do this, don't do it for just a week. Don't do it for 2 weeks. This plan is for the entire month. So this gives you a month's work of outreach for you to be able to track and see what's happening. Ideally, at the end of the 4th week, that's 80 different companies that you would have sent personalized messages and demos to. And you can see how easy it's going to be for us to do that because we're just going to be doing it by our checkbox. Mind you, if you get to week 2, you're going to want to jump into the automation and update this because it's always going to be pointing to week 1. Here's asking you, what is the row number? It's going to be the same row number where that original checkbox was checked in the sheet where that information was being dumped by the AI system. And because the entire row's information is being pulled inside of our webhook, you technically should have that row number inside of there. Now, I know you're looking inside of the row values. Row number would not be there. The reason why, Miles, is because we don't have a column that literally says row number. We're relying on the metadata that's being sent around it. You see, value is true, and the reason that says true is because we
clicked the checkbox.
Exactly. Checkbox means true, not checked is going to be false. You can see row start, row end. These two different ones immediately stood out to me because I'm looking for something that pertains to a row. Now, does that mean this is the exact row that we checkboxed, Miles?
No.
Why? What else would it be? Do we have anything special happening on a specific row? We really don't, right? The only special thing technically that we have is not tied to a row, it's tied to a column. And that column is the column with the send checkbox, right? The one that you're hovering over right now. Right, so you can see that column right there, column R, that's column 18. We know that because that number 18, we had to put inside of the script to tell it this is gonna be that column where that checkbox is getting checked, right? So do we have anything that is tying us to a row?
Wherever the new company gets added in. Because whenever we went in and we did...
Exactly. So let's pretend we just got a brand new row that was added, right? We're going to say row 7. Right now, row 7 is empty. So I want you to visualize this with me. Boom. Row 7 was just filled out. And that checkbox right there is empty. And then we, boop, check it. What are the chances that when we check that checkbox, the metadata information, which is that random pieces of information that is inside of our webhook that is outside of all of the fields inside of our sheet? Do you know what I'm referring to when I say that? If not, open up Make, scroll to the webhook. Pause right there. When I say the metadata, I mean everything outside of row values. You can see that we're getting column end, row end, sheet ID, row start, sheet name, spreadsheet ID, all of these different things. These are going to be just pieces of information about the sheet in general and about the row in general. What are the chances that whatever row number you see here is the actual row number where you did the checkbox? Could it possibly be any other row number for any other reason?
No.
Right?
Because it would be the one updated. Would it be row start then?
It could potentially be either row start or row end because it literally does not matter.
If you were to put in either one, is there a chance of either one coming out with a different outcome, or is it going to be the same outcome every single time regardless of row end or row start?
Could you start with a row and end in a completely different row and have the information be part of the quote unquote same row? Like, is that even logical?
No.
So if I dump information in row 7 and I say the row start is blank, is it even possible for me to have row end that is row 8? No, it's impossible because all that information is on the same row. The row start and row end have to be the same row. So it will literally never be another number. You selected a checkbox and all of this metadata and the row values got pulled into your webhook. Trying to figure out that variable is pointing to your correct row. Most likely it is because you clicked the checkbox in a specific row and it only pulled that specific row's information. Now, this should not have taken this long, but the reason why I went through it is because this thinking process is going to be something that a lot of people are going to have to go through when they are not 100% the variable they're looking for is the actual variable. All right, now scroll down. Table contains headers. Yes, obviously headers is going to be the column names. So yes. And then here's those headers, right? Date, company name. What do you think we should do at this point, Miles? We want to update two things, right? We want to update the company name and which email we contacted. So what are we going to do here? Where are we going to get company name from?
We're going to go here. We're going to go to row values, and then we're going to go back here to see where the company name
before you go back into the sheet. That was the right idea, but see if you can even look at a preview, because most of the time you can get away with not going back to the sheet because Make gives you tiny previews on the right side, those gray areas, those gray pieces of text. They're just preview of what that information is. So go back to the webhook and let's just see if we can get a preview of where that might live. Scroll all the way down, bro. Remember, we're looking at row values right there. So you can see we got a few different previews right there. We have 15 that says Miles. We have 16 that says the actual draft, and 17 is true. So we don't really have a preview of where the company name actually exists, and we don't have a preview of where their email address is being pulled from, which which column that is. So instead of guessing, what we can do, Miles, is we can do exactly what we did earlier, where we see, okay, number 17, where it says true, that's where that checkbox is. And then we'll just go back to that checkbox and pretend that's 17 and then count backwards to find out exactly which number we're at. Or you could technically put information in that webhook and then just run it, do a quick test, and you'll see exactly in a preview. But that's doing too much work. We're smarter than that. So let's just go back, pretend that checkbox is 17 is going to be true. So let's just go back to the sheet and go to where that checkbox actually lives, and we're going to pretend that that row number is 17. So that's 17, okay? Let's
I thought
count.
this was 18.
Huh?
I thought this was 18.
This is 18 in the sheet, but make.com is rating it as 17.
Huh. Okay.
Now, we could dive in and try and figure out why, but I don't even think it matters. It does not matter. Okay, I want to move forward.
Technically, company name would be 0 then, right?
Technically, company name would be 0. Exactly.
Because we're counting back all the way to...
So it'll be whatever. Exactly. There it is. Boom. You got it, bro. And now, right, where is email contacted? Find out like whatever actual row number that is, and then just minus it by 1. Or you can just count backwards from the beginning. Or you can just count backwards from the end and find out exactly what number that is.
Email?
Yeah, so we're looking for email 1. And if R is 17, so count out loud, right? 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So that's going to be column 8. And boom, that should be good to go. Now, the rest of it is just drop downs. We're not going to fill it out, okay? This is going to be stuff that we manually fill out in the drop downs. Nothing is going to be dumped inside of those fields.
Okay.
Click save. So that's pretty much it, bro. We're done. It's a very, very tiny automation, but very helpful because this is going to allow us to track things. And now I want you to click save on this automation. And we're good to go. So now what we have to do is we have to test it, okay? Now, how are we going to test this, Miles? I want you to open up the automation that's responsible for dumping information where we do the checkbox. Sorry, wait. That was retarded. I want you to open up that very first automation, the actual big one, and then we're going to do a simulated test. Make sure you saved your work. Did you save it?
No, because if I save it, this is the new one.
Save it. Yeah, save it. Save it.
No, but I don't want to save this one because
save the new one.
I did.
Oh, you saved the new one?
Yeah.
Save it again, just to be sure. Save it again, just to be sure, bro.
Save this?
No. The new one.
Yeah.
All right, now you can click scenarios and exit out of the other one. Yeah. Yep, discard. Then we're going to open up the main one. And of course, let's name it, right? Right now it's just called Integrations Amplify. Let's just call it AI. Let's just call it AI Business Scraper. Or whatever. Personalized Business Scraper. Whatever you want to call it. All right, save it now. So that way that name sticks. Perfect. And of course, we're doing dummy information. So we're going to add the 2 things that we care about. And then we're going to click the checkbox for those 2 things to make sure that this is happening. So go back to the Google Sheet real quick. Yep, sorry. Now run the Google Sheet module real quick. And remember our mapping, right? We did like a weird mapping for our testing.
Don't we want this?
We actually don't want that because we're testing out only the company name and the email to make sure that they're being dumped in that Google Sheet. So that's the only 2 things you're really going to fit out. No,
we shouldn't keep this, should
we don't need those. Technically, we're going to remove them, yes. We really don't need to map those anymore.
Okay.
Remember, we only did this for the test, right? So we wanted to test the first name and final draft. Actually, keep them because we're probably going to be doing more tests in the future, are we not?
You're absolutely right.
Keep them. Click cancel. No. Just click cancel. Just click cancel. Boom. Nothing saved. All right. So let's go ahead and right click run once, and then we're going to want to dump two pieces of information. That's going to be company name, and that's going to be email one. Company name is the very first field. It says title. The fuck is wrong with you, bro?
And then
we're gonna want email one. So you see where it says an email finder? It's asking you for valid emails, right down there. Remember, email one is part of the email finder thing because it's an array. Yep. So we're gonna click add item, and now it's asking you what is that first email. So type in our email, right? Type in testingman397@gmail.com. Now, before you run this test, Miles, I want you to open up that sheet real quick. And we know that this is going to be adding a row, not this sheet. Not this sheet.
it'll add.
Wrong one. Wrong sheet, bro.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. So we know this is going to be adding a row, so we're expecting it to add a row to row 7. Now I want you to run that automation, and then let's go ahead and see what's happening. So just, yep. As soon as you run it, jump back, and then let's see what happened. All right. Boom. So it threw in that. Oh shit! Hold up. Now the reason why. Hold up. Oh shit! Just go back. Let's go back. Now this should not have taken this long, but the reason why I went through it is because this thinking process is going to be something that a lot of people are going to have to go through when they are not 100% the variable they're looking for is the actual variable. All right, now scroll down. Table contains headers. Yes, obviously headers is going to be the column names. So yes. And then here's those headers, right? Date, company name. What do you think we should do at this point, Miles? We want to update two things, right? We want to update the company name and which email we contacted. So what are we going to do here? Where are we going to get company name from?
We're going to go here. We're going to go to row values, and then we're going to go back here to see where the company name
before you go back into the sheet. That was the right idea, but see if you can even look at a preview, because most of the time you can get away with not going back to the sheet because Make gives you tiny previews on the right side, those gray areas, those gray pieces of text. They're just preview of what that information is. So go back to the webhook and let's just see if we can get a preview of where that might live. It's right there. So you can see we got a few different previews right there. We have 15 that says Miles. We have 16 that says the actual draft, and 17 is true. So we don't really have a preview of where the company name actually exists, and we don't have a preview of where their email address is being pulled from, which column that is. So instead of guessing, what we can do, Miles, is we can do exactly what we did earlier, where we see, okay, number 17, where it says true, that's where that checkbox is, and then we'll just go back to that checkbox and pretend that's 17, and then count backwards to find out exactly which number we're at. Or you could technically put information in that webhook and then just run it, do a quick test, and you'll see exactly in a preview. But that's doing too much work. We're smarter than that. So let's just go back, pretend that that checkbox is 17 is going to be true. So let's just go back to the sheet and go to where that checkbox actually lives. And we're going to pretend that that row number is 17. So that's 17, okay?
I thought this was 18.
This is 18 in the sheet, but make.com is rating it as 17.
Okay.
Now, we could dive in and try and figure out why, but I don't even think it matters. It does not matter. Okay, I want to move forward.
But it would technically company name would be 0 then, right?
Technically, company name would be 0. Exactly.
Because we're counting back all the way to...
So it'll be whatever. Exactly. There it is. Boom, you got it, bro. And now, where is email contacted? Find out like whatever actual row number that is, and then just minus it by 1. Or you can just count backwards from the end and find out exactly what number that is.
Email?
Yeah, so we're looking for email 1. And if R is 17, so count out loud, right? 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So that's going to be column 8. And boom, that should be good to go. Now, the rest of it is just drop downs. We're not going to fill it out. Okay, this is going to be stuff that we manually fill out in the drop downs. Nothing is going to be dumped inside of those fields.
Okay.
Click save.
So just save it.
So that's pretty much it, bro. We're done. It's a very, very tiny automation, but very helpful because this is going to allow us to track things. And now I want you to click save on this automation and we're good to go. So now what we have to do is we have to test it. Okay. Now, how are we going to test this, Miles? I want you to open up that very first automation, the actual big one. And then we're going to do a simulated test. Make sure you saved your work. All right. Now you can click scenarios and exit out of the other one. Then we're going to open up the main one. And of course, let's name it, right? Right now, it's just called Integrations Amplify. Let's just call it Personalized Business Scraper, whatever you want to call it. All right, save it now. So that way that name sticks. Perfect. And of course, we're doing dummy information. So we're going to add the 2 things that we care about. And then we're going to click the checkbox for those 2 things to make sure that this is happening. So go back to the Google Sheet real quick. Now run the Google Sheet module real quick. And remember our mapping, right? We did like a weird mapping for our testing.
Don't we want this?
We actually don't want that because we're testing out only the company name and the email to make sure that they're being dumped in that Google Sheet. So that's the only 2 things you're really going to fit out. No,
we shouldn't keep this, should we?
we don't need those. Technically, we're going to remove them. Yes. We really don't need to map those anymore.
Okay.
Remember, we only did this for the test, right? So we wanted to test the first name and final draft. Actually, keep them because we're probably going to be doing more tests in the future. Are we not?
You're absolutely right.
Keep them. Click cancel. Boom. Nothing saved. So let's go ahead and right click run once. And then we're going to want to dump 2 pieces of information. That's going to be company name and that's going to be email 1. Company name is the very first field. It says title. What the fuck is wrong with you, bro?
And then
we're going to want email 1. So you see where it says an email finder? It's asking you for valid emails, right? Down there. Remember, email 1 is part of the email finder thing because it's an array. Yep. So we're going to click add item. And now it's asking you what is that first email. So type in our email, right? Type in testingman397@gmail.com. Now, before you run this test, Miles, I want you to open up that sheet real quick. And we know that this is going to be adding a row, not this sheet. Yep. So we know this is going to be adding a row. So we're expecting it to add a row to row 7. Now I want you to run that automation and then let's go ahead and see what's happening. So just, yep. As soon as you run it, jump back and then let's see what happened. All right. Boom. So it threw in, oh shit, hold up. Now the reason why, hold up. Oh shit, let's go back. Now, the reason why I did it in this ugly, undefined way is because we did a manual test, okay? If this was running by its own, it would not look like that. So we're actually just going to bypass that. I want you to delete that and just paste in our email inside of the email 1. And we can get away with doing this because the checkbox was already created on its own. Okay, so you can see AMR massage service and then testing man 397 is there. So ideally, what would happen right now is if we ran that automation that looks for the checkbox and we came here and clicked that checkbox, we should see the fields update. So let's go ahead and run once. Now, mind you, when we run once, what's going to happen, right? The second ChatGPT is going to be looking for an email draft, and the Gmail module is going to want to send a draft. And right now, there is no email draft because we're just doing the only 2 test fields, and the Gmail is probably going to send some random bullshit. And we know that, okay? We're not testing for that. So as long as neither of these error out, we should be good to go. Click on Gmail just to make sure where that email is actually getting sent to, right? We want to make sure that so I am so happy that we clicked onto that because now we just found something that you guys are going to run into all the time. When you see this error right here, where it says fail to verify your connection, this is extremely easy. Don't be scared. This is very, very fixable. And the only thing you have to do is reauthorize your connection into your Gmail. That's all that means. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to recognize that this just means your connection is expired. And then we're going to click on the button on the left side that says credentials. I want you to right click that, open link in a new tab so that way we don't close out of our automation. And then when you see this, you're going to see a page that looks something like this. And all this page is, by the way, it's a list of every single connection that we made into make.com. You can see our AnyMail Finder connection at the top. You can see our Appify connection right under it. You can see the Calendly connection. And you can see which account specifically that connection is going into. So you can see that AnyMail Finder is going to Pure AI Team, Appify is going to TestingMan397, and then our Gmail is anmar@openstepai.com. It shows you all the accounts where those connections are coming from. So when a connection dies and you have to reauthorize it, there's going to be 2 buttons that you see right there. And I want you to just guess which one you're going to have to click, Miles.
Reauthorize.
That's it. That's all you have to do. As soon as you click reauthorize, it's going to pop up the same window as if you had just did it for the first time. You're going to want to log into that account that you're reauthorizing. And once you log in and you verify yourself, it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to allow Make to do whatever it needs to do? You're just going to click continue, authorize, allow, whatever button you have to click. And then once you guys log in, you're going to see this thing. This is just the thing that says, hey, do you want to allow Make.com to do this, this, and that? This is the specific permissions we set up. You're just going to click select all and then continue to give it that authorization. Once you do that, your connection should be reauthorized and good to go. And boom, we can see we're good to go because you can click inside of Gmail and everything is showing and everything is pretty. Now I want you to click run once. And now let's go back and do the checkbox. So boom, that should have caught it. Let's jump back here. Webhook caught it. GPT is trying to create a draft. It's probably going to be like, yo, I don't have anything. And then Gmail just sent a bullshit random email. Now go to Google Sheets, the actual sheet itself. Just open it up and then let's see what happened. So we can see it updated row 7. Obviously, the reason why it's row 7 is because we mapped the specific same exact row where we did the checkbox in, and that row 7 is where that info, like it's literally where it belongs in this tracking sheet. It's the 7th business in that 7th row where we did the checkbox. So this is good, okay? It updated the row and it told us exactly what happened. Now, obviously, it started at 7 because we're not starting at the very first one. So when you start and you check the first box for the very, very first row, it's just going to go to whatever row matches inside of this sheet to the other sheet. So if I click the checkbox for row number 2, which would have been technically our very first company, right? It would just update that same exact row in the tracking sheet right there. And we can see that row 2 is company 1. So that is a 1-to-1 match. Okay, this is perfect. So at this point, all we have to do is we have to keep track of what's happening. If they actually call our voice AI demo, which I'm going to show you guys once we get to the voice AI building section, which is right after this, by the way, I'm going to show you guys how to track those calls and you can actually see if they're calling your demo. You can even listen into the call and see what's happening. But this is where we're going to be able to mark that. And then if they respond back to you in that email, you're going to want to mark that. If they are interested or if they just tell you to fuck off, you're going to want to mark that right here. And if they end up doing a booking through our website, which obviously we're going to be pushing them to do that booking, you're going to want to mark that here. And you have optional field right there to throw all the booking details so you don't have to keep jumping through your Gmail trying to find the link to everything. This is your source of truth for everything and all the outreach that's happening inside of your company. And this is just a bare bone down diluted CRM. Reason why is because this is, again, intro level stuff right now. We want to get up and running very, very quickly, but I'm going to show you guys how to set up crazy CRM automations later on. And for right now, if you need this sheet, send me a message. I probably have posted it somewhere. And if you can't find that or you don't know where it is, just send me a message and I will give you the sheet right here. When you actually get access to the sheet, the way you make it your own is by clicking the word file at the top. And then you click the button that says make a copy. All of a sudden, everything in here is just going to be literally duplicated and created. It's going to be your own version with all the settings and everything that we set up inside of it.
Thank you.
So with that being said, you're fucking welcome. And now we are on officially the craziest part of this journey, bro. I'm going to now step into the world of teaching you guys how to build the actual voice AI system. I'm going to show you guys every single thing you need to know about how to build it, what to build, and where to do it, and all of that stuff. We're going to be jumping into the voice AI section after this. But at this point, you should have everything configured to the same level that we're at right now.